Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network. And today is September the 7th, 2016. And I want to thank all of our listeners from Latin America, especially you good old boys coming out of Berlin, Germany, as well as the great country of Canada. And also, of course, the great United States of America. We are out live on remote. So we want to go out and tell you what we see going on. And a lot of people are doing football practice right now at Big C up here in the Northern California area. But how's it going for you good old boys down south, Big C?
Well, Charlton, we finished our practice last weekend down in Texas and stuff down in the south.
Okay.
That was our last scrimmage of the fall and stuff. So we're ready now for some real football. You know, we got everybody in the game. Everybody got a chance to play against the JV team.
The USC Trojans, right? Yeah, the USC Trojans.
I thought it was a JV team.
Well,
you know, they just forgot to put that, little yellow jersey on the quarterback saying "Don't hit him."
That's funny. Well, Lynn Swann is actually protesting that game, from what I hear, just a rumor. But he's protesting Steve Sarkisian, and that's what happens when you fire guys that are drink a lot. Big C, they go to your opponent and give them all your playbook. Big C. But also, I want to say this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealer, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, since you've been driving more Cadillacs, I'm seeing more and more Escalades on the road. I think you good old boys have something going on, Big C. You're trading in your pickup trucks for the Escalades, Big C. Is that what it is?
Well, Charlton, we like to ride in the lap of luxury, okay?
Yeah.
We worked hard over the years to get to that point. And Cadillac is rewarded as well with a beautiful, powerful vehicle that we can get in and do donuts and all that other stuff. And
all that fun stuff.
Back for the hunting and fishing here, Charlton.
Well, nothing wrong with hunting and fishing, Big C. But also, I want to get into some football. I know everybody's hyped about football coming up. They're even talking about power ratings. We have Drew Brees that signed another contract. It's $44 million and hasn't been to the Super Bowl in a long time. But he's someone that has been at least consistent, Big C. And the Vikings have yet to name their quarterback. But what's your thoughts on the NFL coming up as far as the quarterbacks are concerned, Big C?
Well, it's going to be a very interesting start to the season, Charlton. You talked about Drew Brees hopefully stabilizing the New Orleans offense, signing the new 2-year extension. And just around the league as a whole, when you look at some of the new quarterbacks that are starting, Charlton, you look at Simeon in Denver.
Yeah.
You're going to get his first NFL start and has never thrown a regular season pass.
Yeah.
You're going to look at Carson Wentz the same way in Philadelphia, the number 2 overall draft pick, who is now have to play football against grown men instead of a high school kid. So it's going to be very interesting with him. He's going to be gun under fire. But I'll tell you, Charlton, the most interesting thing about all the starting quarterbacks and non-starting quarterbacks at the beginning of this season, Jeff Goff.
Oh, yeah.
The number 1 overall draft pick of the Los Angeles Rams, a player that they gave up 4 draft picks.
Yeah, they said he's a can't miss. I mean, he's going to be ready the first day. That's the same guy you're talking about, Big C?
Let me tell you what he's going to miss. He's going to miss the opening game. He's going to miss putting on a uniform. He's not even going to dress.
Well, wait a minute, Big C. Mel Kiper said he's a can't miss, and Todd McShay said the same thing. How is he not even going to suit up for game 1, Big C?
And he can't miss putting the ink pen on the clipboard.
Oh, okay.
So he'll be there charting plays, the number 1, and he's the first number 1 overall draft pick not to dress for opening day since another quarterback that happened who had not too illustrious of a career, Jamarcus Russell with the Oakland Raiders, Charlton. And there's some parallel there. We just saw the Pac-12 play in the SEC.
Yeah.
Both of those quarterbacks are from the Pac-12 and SEC.
Well, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Maybe they've learned something from Joey Bosa. Get the money and then fake hurt, or just say you're not good enough after you get the paycheck. But see, that's one thing they can do.
So, he went up against a couple of NFL offensive tackles, Charlton, in practice.
Yeah.
And he got stonewalled.
Right.
And he realized these are real.
Yeah.
These guys don't care about my name being Bosa. So they'll drop the last 2 letters and just put B.O. and throw a Y on the end of it.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's what they treat him like.
Well, it reminds me of one of the great comedians, the late Richard Pryor. He was talking about being friends with Jim Brown and how Jim Brown never got hurt, never missed games, and now they got guys that get hurt in practice. And so maybe they're going back to some of that Richard Pryor behavior, Big C. But also, it's not great to criticize, someone that has done a lot for the league over the years. But you look at New Orleans, and they're giving a lot of money away again, $44 million. But what has Breeze done to earn that money over the past few seasons, Big C?
Well, Charlton actually held that organization together. Without Drew Brees, what would New Orleans ever had? I mean, he's the only quarterback who's consistently reached the 5,000-yard plateau in the last decade. He has more 5,000-yard seasons than any quarterback in NFL history, Charlton. So when you look at his capabilities, it's been on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And to go along with that, let's draw a parallel with another quarterback, Charlton, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL now.
Yeah.
Okay? You pay a guy $144 million.
It's just money, Big C.
$144 million.
Right.
How much money do you have left to dole out to the rest of the team?
The rest of the team don't matter.
People now are starting to make excuses for Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
You know, that because he hasn't reached the potential that everybody thought he was going to be at.
Right.
He's not even playing at an Alex Smith level in Kansas City.
That's true.
But you think about that. You give Andrew Luck, and think about all the coach quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks last year, Charlton. They had 3 different starting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
All 3 left with injury. And what did the owner, Robert Irsay, do? Well, let's overpay Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
But can he stay off his butt? He's been knocked down 9 times in the limited play in the preseason that he had this year.
Yeah, well, you brought it up yesterday, Big C. You talked about RG3 when he was injured. They said he was washed up and no good and a bust of a player. When Andrew Luck got injured, they said, well, it's his offensive line's fault. But you think about him and Tom Brady, the difference between Andrew Luck and a Tom Brady is Tom Brady's willing to take less money to make his team better. Andrew Luck has never been to a Super Bowl, and he's the total opposite of Tom Brady. He's willing to take more money and doesn't care about if his team gets better or not. On paper, he can say all the things he wants to, but he could have gone to the organization and said, look, if the Irsay is concerned about the offensive line, let's put more money into the offensive line. That would eradicate some of his concerns. Would that make sense, Big C?
Well, Charlton, the offensive line is the sore point of the Indianapolis Colts. They're going to start, for the first time in NFL history, in modern-day history of the NFL since the merger, 4 rookie offensive linemen. No team has ever done that. You got the highest-paid player in the league, and you're starting 4 rookie offensive linemen and a left journeyman tackle that his teammates don't even know his name.
Yeah, and that's very true.
So you talk, that's like taking a bank and opening it up without any security. No alarm system, no security guards.
Yeah, that's
basically what Irsay has done in Indianapolis. Yes, it's nice to have a player make that type of money.
Yeah.
But when you can't protect your investment, that's like planting a garden down here in the South, Charlton. Never turning on the water and expecting everything.
You guys don't have water problems down south. You talk about turning on water. Bring some of that water right here to California, Big C. We could use it to wash off that USC horse that didn't even work up a sweat against you good boys from Alabama, Big C. And also, okay, I'll give you credit, and maybe Breeze has earned it because he helped that organization stay together. He's also been a good player, a great spokesman for New Orleans in that area. Also does a lot of charity work in that area. But I also want to say that this segment is sponsored by the California Lottery. What can a buck do for you? Tonight's Powerball is actually $180 million. And I don't know what's up with God, but I keep praying, Big C. I mean, I prayed really hard, Big C. I said, God, just honor your word. And I didn't win the Mega Million last night, but I think the Powerball is ours tonight, Big C. Your thoughts on going to half and half on the ticket, Big C, when we split it?
Well, I guess you gotta believe in the power of the faith, all in one.
Are you saying that Creflo Dollar? You saying Creflo Dollar has more power and faith than us, Big C?
Well, Creflo got his $62 million. He reminded me of Billy Graham back in the late '70s.
Oh yeah.
When he had got called from God, and he needs to raise $14 million a week. And this is pre-cell phone. We didn't have.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phones back then.
And I'm just I always wondered at that time.
Yeah.
If his phone rang and it was God, would it be a long-distance call or a collect call?
I think if it says God on the call ID, you answer that call. So God, when you call about that Mega Million number that I had in the dream and the Powerball, I'm answering that call, God. But also, Big C, as we get back into some of the football, Minnesota Vikings, man, what about the luck that they have not have? They have a brand new state-of-the-art stadium. They had Bridgewater. It's a great stadium, and they had Bridgewater ready to play. They were knocked out of the playoffs last year by Seattle when they had the Blazers turned the wrong way on a field goal. And we know they had Adrian Peterson. He tore up his knee, but he came back strong. I hope and pray the same thing can happen for Bridgewater. But just your thoughts on Sean Hill or Sam Bradford. It seems like Sean Hill's over the hill, no pun intended, Big C. But Bradford looks like he's younger and can be their best choice. Your thoughts on him?
Well, Sean Hill is a journeyman. He's like a Band-Aid, when you have an injury on your body.
Yeah.
You put something on.
Wait, you good old boys use Band-Aids down south? I thought you guys used mud and water when you guys had some type of scratch, Big C.
It does help. It's a disinfectant.
Oh, okay. Okay, sounds good.
And also a little moonshine. Mix that in the mud until you got that total disinfectant and alcohol.
That's the missing ingredient.
You don't give up as many picks as you did for Sam Bradford, a number 1 and a number 4, potentially a number 2 if the Vikings were fortunate enough to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So Sam Bradford's going to be the starter in Minnesota. All this media speculation about the Vikings having made a trade.
Oh, yeah.
They made a choice, Charlton, when they made the trade. You don't go out and get a 7-year veteran NFL quarterback and say, hey, we're not going to start it. Because he started every year of his NFL career that he could walk.
Yes.
So, this year will be no different. I think it gives him a little bit of an advantage starting Sam Bradford because his knowledge of the game, recognizing the defenses.
Yeah.
John Hill, like I said, he's been around. He knows the NFL, but he doesn't have the arm strength to worry defenses.
Yeah.
Charlton, you can stack 8 in the box when Sean Hill is playing quarterback. He's a floater when it comes to throwing the football.
Yeah.
It's like the equivalency in baseball where you have a knuckleball pitcher versus a fastball pitcher.
Yeah.
That's where the deal is right now. But, it's going to be some interesting scenarios around the whole NFL. What is Kirk Cousins going to do in Washington, Charlton?
Yeah.
What he's going to do to earn the $20 million that he's making this year.
He's going to cash that check.
For winning 10 games.
He's going to cash that check.
10 games, he probably only had 6 good games.
Yes. Well, I understand that.
$1 million is a lot to live up to.
That's a lot to live up to. And also, speaking of living up to, we're going to take a quick break and come right back on the other half of the hour. And this is Charlton Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network. We'll take a quick break and we'll come right back in a minute.
Yes,
all right, we are back right now from the break. This is Charlton Big C Sports coming to you Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time on iHeartRadio Network. Also, you can hear we're out live at the practice, and you have a lot of music playing in the background. The Big C also, I want to get your thoughts, as we were talking earlier, on one of the great quarterback challenges with Minnesota, Hill, and also Bradford. You think that Hill is a journeyman. I think Bradford gives him the best chance to win. Your thought on that?
Yeah, Bradford Charlton is going to be the guy. You don't give up the number of draft picks that they gave up to him, especially a number 1 draft pick that you potentially could go as high as number 2 for the second draft pick that they gave up. But Sam Bradford, as long as he's been in the NFL and never developed to that full potential that everybody's always expected. When you're the number 1 overall draft pick in the NFL, Charlton, you never go to a great team.
That's true.
That's true. He left. I think they were the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay. And they just made that same decision again to take a quarterback number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Who is not even going to dress. But Bradford coming to Minnesota is going to be the best situation he's ever been in his pro career, Charles.
Yeah.
He's coming in and he's going to inherit a playoff team from last season.
Well, that's
good. He left one of the best young running backs in the game, and now he's going to have one of the best veteran running backs in the game. He has a solid receiving core and a solid offensive line.
Yeah.
But, this is an opportunity for him to prove his mettle in the NFL once and for all, because this is the best chance that he's ever going to have in his NFL career, Charlton, for success.
Yeah.
Being the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, I agree with you very much, Big C. Now, there's another thing that people talk about when it comes to power ratings. They're talking about some of the top teams that actually have a chance to get to the Super Bowl and win it. They're talking about Pittsburgh, of course, in the AFC, and they're also talking about New England in the AFC. And then in the NFC, they're talking about Green Bay and Arizona, as well as Seattle. I think, and maybe I'm stretching, but I think the Oakland Raiders, based on, I know they haven't shown it, Big C, but their defense should be better. I know they have Ken Norton Jr., he's the coordinator on that defensive side of the ball, and I think their offense is on target. They were not that far from even challenging for a playoff spot last year in the wild card. I think they turned the corner this year, but it's going to be based on them getting past Denver, at least a split with Denver and a split with Kansas City. Your thoughts on a young Oakland team?
Well, the young Oakland team is what you said, Charlton. They haven't gelled yet. They had problems during the preseason stopping the run.
Yeah.
They even gave up a lot of passing yards. They hadn't developed their running game, personally, offensively, the way that they wanted. Murray was not able to get on track. When you put a lot of interchangeable parts in your offense, new offensive linemen, it takes a while to get the coordination there between the movement and understand the blocking scheme and what somebody is expected to do all the time. So that's going to take a minute. Carr, needs to be more concise.
Yeah.
In his passing game. You can't always hope to go to the big ball down the field. You got to learn how to kick it down the field, check down.
Yeah.
Take the 7 and 8 yard games. Don't always look for the 27 and 30 yard games. So, because first downs eventually will end up in touchdowns.
Well, I think this team
get it all in 1 or 2 plays.
Yeah.
But a 10, 12 play drive, get you in the end zone. That's just as good. Plus, it keeps your defense off the field.
Well, with Cooper and Crabtree, they remind me of the Raiders in the old days when Ken Stabler and Plunkett, where they wanted to throw the ball downfield and counter their defense to make plays for them. I hope they have that type of offense this year. And Carr threw for nearly 4,000 yards last year. So he does have the experience, Big C, and he's coming back, and he has a good tandem working with Crabtree and also Cooper for the second year in a row, Big C. But let me ask you this question that people don't think about too much. Is Del Rio in trouble if they don't win, Big C?
I think he's on the hot seat, Charlton, because they very short leash with all quarterbacks in Oakland over the past decade.
Yeah.
He has not produced in 2 years. They're looking at getting rid of you and bringing somebody else. But see, that's the business of the league, Charlton.
Yeah.
We saw that last year with Lovie Smith. He goes into Tampa, turns that organization around, gets a few more victories than they've had under Greg Schiano.
Yeah.
He loses his job.
Yeah.
No fault of his by making the team better, but it wasn't enough. Del Rio, there's no excuse to hold on to Del Rio.
Yeah.
If he can't supplant the victory amount that he had last season, Charlton,
yeah.
The team will have regret if they don't win at least 10 games this year, Charlton.
Well, I think
you can't stay stable at 7 and 9, but on the flip side of that ledger, I'm trying to figure out what Jeff Fisher has against the Rams organization.
Yeah, what do you mean by that, Big C?
Here's a guy that can keep his job, gets a $27 million 4-year extension, run an organization.
Yeah.
And hasn't had but 8 winning seasons in his entire NFL coaching career, I believe it is.
Yeah, actually he's 6-21. He's 6-15 in 21 seasons, so he's only had 6 winning seasons. But sometimes, like you say, Big C, is who you know. But 6-21, coming from St. Louis, those aren't bad numbers, but Los Angeles, I don't think it's going to hold up too well, Big C.
Well, Charlton, show me another coach in the NFL with that abysmal record. I mean, if Mike Tomlin had only won a third, had winning seasons in a third of his coaching years in Pittsburgh, he wouldn't be around.
Yeah.
But look at Marvin Lewis. He's made the playoffs every year he's been in Cincinnati. And he got a 1-year extension, Charlton, and every year they call him for fine if they need to make a move, then Marvin Lewis is not the answer.
Yeah.
I want to see how many coaches in the NFL, Charlton, have a better winning percentage than a Marvin Lewis and a Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
In the past 5-6 years.
Yeah.
How many coaches have a better winning percentage? There's not many. There's some, but not many, Charlton. So as an African-American coach, as an African-American player, as an African-American man, you live under tremendous strain every day.
Yeah, there's always a little bit different bias there, it seems.
It's like the Colin Kaepernick backlash that you get now.
Yeah.
You're getting it from hockey teams. The hockey's all white anyway. They got two black players in the league, all right?
Yeah.
But it's an all-white sport. You got a coach trying to play a tyrant. The U.S. hockey coach threatening the players. He's a grown man who make more money than him and can get him fired in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But he's threatening these players if they show any type of protest or solidarity with Colin Kaepernick, that they will sit the entire game.
Well, ironic.
I'm going to tell a grown man who has volunteered to play for a country, volunteered for free, how are you going to threaten him?
Well, we're out here.
This is not the Republic of Russia.
Yeah, I understand.
The United States, Charlton, the land of free. So what he's doing is saying, we're going to oppress your Fifth Amendment right.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying what they want to say. It is freedom of speech. The Seattle Seahawks are also considering doing what Colin Kaepernick has done. And also this segment is sponsored by United Labor Guaranteed $100,000 life insurance with no medical questions. We're also endorsed by the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society, and we're also looking to hire over 1,000 licensed insurance brokers to help United Labor put people back to work and also protect American families. As you can see, there's a lot of noise in our background here, but we are at football practice, and there's a lot of drills going on and also lots of music, but we do it live on the fly, Big C. I also want to bring up one more interesting point about the NFL. And last year, the Super Bowl ended kind of a bad game overall. It's not a very exciting game, but they're starting out Thursday night, and it's going to be Denver versus Carolina again, and Denver's guaranteeing that their defense will be just as difficult on Carolina as they were last year. Your thoughts on that game?
Well, I look at Cam Newton coming out the blocks, Charlton, very strong. he has a point to prove that the Super Bowl last year was a fluke when they lost the game. They lost 2 games last year. They lost a fluke on the road to Atlanta late in the season that stopped their 14-game winning streak. But they got back on track in the playoffs. They went dominated throughout the playoffs. So, when we look at the Super Bowl, John, there were several bad calls in the Super Bowl. The human factor from the outside.
The Las Vegas human factor is what you're saying, Big C. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's not the guys wearing pads that made the human factor in the game and the difference. When Jeremiah Contry caught the ball down the middle of the field, Charlton, that put it 42 yards potential game.
Yes.
And we saw that play from 7 angles, if not at the least. 7 different angles where that ball never lost contact with his body, never hit the turf. But, based on the decision by the officials to overturn that play, when you got a young team that's gaining momentum and you take that momentum away, it's like having rain delay in baseball. You got a pitcher throwing a no-hitter. He's had to sit for an hour. Now, all of a sudden, do you bring him back and risk an arm injury to keep that no-hitter going? No, you bring in a relief pitcher because he sat too long. Well, what happened when you took 3 minutes to decide that this was not a catch that everybody in the stadium at home saw was a catch? Emotionally. I've played in a couple championship games, Charlton, unfortunately, in my lifetime. But when you look back, it was about the momentum that you gained in that game that allowed you to win. That was the difference maker. And when and what you did as the team on top, you took the momentum away from the losing team. And when you lose your momentum, you can't just start it up like a car engine. Because this game is about emotion, Charlton.
It's always about emotion and repetition and how you play well. And, just thinking about what happened in the first week of college football and what could happen in the first week of NFL football, we thought, mainstream media thought we had an upset with Houston and Oklahoma. I don't think it was an upset at all. I thought it was an upset. USC and Alabama, okay, maybe that's not an upset.
They were upset when they left Texas.
Okay.
They were very upset. Don't worry about that. They'll be upset the rest of the year about that.
Lynn Swann was very upset that USC didn't get that game handled the way they thought it would, thanks to Steve Sarkisian, Big C. Any potential upsets in the NFL, I think if Carolina can beat Denver, I don't think it's going to be an upset, even though, according to some of the pollsters, that game is kind of a give and take. So it's always 50-50, it seems. I just want to get your input on if Denver can win that game, it's not going to be because of the quarterback. And last year it was not because of the quarterback. It was because of their defense. But Aqib Talib had a great game in the Super Bowl. He's still coming off of a gunshot wound, Big C. I don't know how you get shot. It has anything to do with football, but I guess it's where you hang out, Big C. So just let me ask you this question. If Carolina wins it, is it an upset, or is it just something that you expect to happen, Big C?
Well, what you're saying is that the quarterback in Carolina, Cam Newton, is not better than Simeon. The kid who was never thrown an NFL pass versus the MVP. You're saying the guy won the MVP on what, a fluke? That he wasn't worthy of it? That he's not that good a player? That he's fallen off the shelf? There's been no other quarterback in NFL history, modern day history, that has been maligned like Cam Newton after coming off an MVP season. Aaron Rodgers is still thought of as the best quarterback in the NFL. He hasn't won the MVP but twice in his entire career and won Super Bowl. So it's been a while since he's competed. And all these other quarterbacks, I don't think Matt Ryan's ever been the MVP. Joe Flacco's never been the MVP. Matthew Stafford's never been the MVP. Jay Cutler's never been the MVP. And we can go on and on talking. But a black quarterback, the MVP who leads the team to the Super Bowl with the best overall record in the league, losing the game now. He didn't play defense for Carolina. Okay, let's be sure about that. He wasn't the guy who tried to tackle Anderson when he was breaking tackles and running up and down the field. That wasn't him. But as a black quarterback, he got blamed for everything negative. I recall, I think it was about 4 years ago, that there was a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks when they won their initial Super Bowl. They beat Denver. In New York. And they had this quarterback that had a record-setting season, threw for some 5,000 yards, 53 touchdowns. And, he didn't get 53 yards in the game, Charlie.
No, is that the guy that fumbled the ball, that fumbled the first snap? He didn't have the history of understanding how the first snap is going to come on his cadence?
But, he was not maligned, Charlie, following suit. They were expecting bigger and better things from him. But, for Cam Newton to be beat up by the mainstream media the way he has, and even the sports book, doubting his ability, look at what he's done since he's been in the NFL as the number 1 overall draft pick. Oh, by the way, Charlton.
Yeah.
The kid in San Francisco, what's his name? The quarterback that's going to start, Gabbert.
Yeah.
Gabbert.
Yeah.
He was drafted number 5 that year.
Yeah.
And so, what's the knock on Blaine Gabbert? If Cam Newton has had the success.
Well, wait a minute, though. Wait a minute, Big C. Gabbert has won 7 career games, though. You got to give him credit for that,
right.
Big C.
Hey, forgive me, man. You've been in the NFL 5 years, and you won.
Yeah, but that's not his fault.
As the number 5 overall draft pick.
Yeah.
As the number 5, you got 2 second rounders that have blown you away in their careers. Andy Dalton, Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
Both of them have made it to the playoffs consistently.
That's always
I take that back. Blaine Gabbert has made it to the playoffs also, Charles.
Yeah.
But he bought a ticket.
He bought a ticket. He's sitting next to you and me, Big C. And also, this final segment is sponsored by One Life American Life Insurance. We're the leaders in the country when it comes to final expense. Also looking to hire over 1,000 brokers to help offer a final expense to all the Americans, protecting American families. Also have a lending company with Coco Capital, and that's KOKO Capital and Financial. We can also help do loans for you nationwide. And also, Big C, I just want to ask you this question too. When you think about the excitement of the NFL, and we talked about how MMA has taken over the boxing world and how more people like MMA fighting more than they do boxing right now, nothing has challenged the NFL. And I know Goodell has been so silent lately. I don't know why, even with the thing about Kaepernick. Your thoughts on that?
Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
What's the backlash that Colin Kaepernick is getting?
Not a lot lately.
Not saluting the flag.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Tom Brady, last preseason game, did not have the American flag on the back of his helmet.
Wow.
He said he don't know what happened to it.
Right. It was deflated, right?
The media's been straddling the fence on this scenario because after Spygate and after the Deflategate, what are you going to get? Helmetgate now?
He might. Don't give him a clue, Big C. You might hear about it tomorrow.
Flaggate. We'll call it Flaggate. So Goodell is in a quandary about making noise about this situation. He's hoping that it'll just go away because Brady won't be back for another month back on the field. But that's why Goodell has been quiet. But there's been no backlash nationwide about Tom Brady not honoring the American flag on the back of his helmet, which is part of the NFL required
kind of like the uniform. The uniform, they have police badges.
And there's a fine. They have a fine.
The uniform police.
Conform with the uniform police. You get fined, and that's a $10,000 fine. Tom Brady has not been fined, and there's nothing really been kept under wraps about him not having that. So you would be putting Tom Brady on the same page with Colin Kaepernick. So that's not what the mainstream media want to do. So they've kept that quiet about Tom Brady taking the logo off his helmet of all the helmets around.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Charlton, even when they're in the equipment room, they still have those little flags on them. They come with the flags prepped. That's
definitely true. And also, this final segment is sponsored by BeneathThisWingsFoundation.org and also CYNN Entertainment with Cynthia Evans. She's the best when it comes to promotions in Northern California. Big C, as we transition from the NFL in the last few minutes, the world of golf has gotten a little bit more exciting because Tiger Woods, I believe he's going to start playing again in October. Hopefully he's past his medical injuries. And then Lindsey Vonn was in the paper today saying that she still loves Tiger Woods. You think that's going to make some of the good old boys upset down south, Big C?
Well, that's a spin and a twist on anything, when you think about that. That's one of those, relationships that a lot of people didn't want to see two of the world's most prominent athletes, linking up and trying to develop a relationship. And I think the media is what caused them to divide. Both of them are tremendous athletes in their own perspective and sports. They've been world leaders. But, it was very interesting and a big uplift for the golfing world. Tiger talking about coming back potentially, Charlton, this year in October and playing in the Safeway Open, as in the NIBO tournament. But he's talking about potentially playing in 3 tournaments if his health can maintain enough to play in those 3 tournaments. So, I mean, if that happens, golf will get a huge boost in the arm of adrenaline. And, it'll bring back fanfare and interest again into a game. And I don't care what people say, Charlton, golf is dying. Okay? Golf is dying. Golf had a great injection of Tiger Woods for 15 years, but right now golf is dying. The viewership and participation is down over some 50%. When you think about all the golf courses that have been put in, Charlton, over the last 15 years across America and across the world, that was because of the Tiger Woods.
Well, I think you're right.
Golf courses went everywhere.
And
that was Tiger Woods.
And one thing that I do miss, Big C, and I think even if the younger guys, I think you talk about Spieth, you talk about McIlroy and Day, and they just don't have the type of excitement factor that you had when it was Woods going up against Mickelson or some of those good old boys back in the day, pulling for Woods or Mickelson. I think they made the game gate.
Well, Charlton, when you look at Woods in the canvas of America, it was sexy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It was sexy. I mean, everybody wanted to watch Tiger. Tiger had that physique. He had that posture.
Yeah.
He had that look. He had that tenacity about him. It made it different whether a man or a woman looking at Tiger.
Yeah.
You admired him.
And
because the way he carried himself and represented himself whenever he was behind the mic.
Yeah.
He never berated any of his opponents.
Yeah.
He always praised everybody. He was a professional, consummate professional, Charlton.
Well, also,
and that's what golf is missing.
Well,
we
he
don't
also
have a spokesperson anymore.
No spokesperson. They've tried to make one in Spieth, but I don't think he's up to the task yet. He's still a young man. But I think also something that has always divided America is this race issue thing. Whenever you have interracial relationships that are out in public, I think back in the days of Jim Crow, they were always the private type with Big C. But nowadays, when you have that contrasting appearance in public that a lot of people still don't approve of, Big C, even though they don't come out and say it anymore. I think that's why he lost a lot of his endorsements when that happened. But also, Tiger Woods has been great.
He wasn't Ryan Lochte.
Yeah.
He wasn't urinating on the wall in the restroom, pulling down signs and all that, lying and embarrassing an entire country. Not having a relationship with your wife that you goes on the bad terms.
Yes.
He embarrassed the entire country, lied on two countries.
Yeah.
And he still praised as an American hero. Oh, but he was blonde and white.
Well, sometimes we know that's still a factor in American history, but hopefully things will get better with the younger generation. And the last thing I want to ask you, Big C, I know with the football season coming to the kickoff on Thursday, just want to get your final thoughts on what you're expecting to see, not only in the first week of games, but I really have a lot of interest in the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. What can you expect to see coming up on Thursday night, Big C?
Well, the team that I'm really looking forward to watching this year, Charlton, is the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
They were injury-riddled the first part of the season last year. They got off to a poor start. I believe they were 1-4 to start the season. But, they came on so strong in the second half of the season. They beat Minnesota in the first round of the playoffs. This is a team that is on the verge of getting back to the Super Bowl for the third time in, 5 years?
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That would be phenomenal. They make it back to the Super Bowl for the third time in 5 years. And, they didn't have Lynch last year either, so they had to make adjustments. They had to make adjustments without Jimmy Graham, without Marshawn Lynch. They've gotten all that back in place now. They got a young running back. The two of them, actually, they can count on. Their receiving core is equal to any in the NFL. So I really like Seattle in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, don't sell Pittsburgh short. Okay? Don't sell the Steelers short.
Terrible towels. Yeah, terrible towels.
Ben Roethlisberger got Antonio Brown, who's healthy, who's the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, if Williams can do what he did, it was not Williams, but Stewart.
Yeah.
If he can do what he did last year, he gained over 900 yards rushing, in the absence of Le'Veon Bell. Now, Bell's going to be back after 4-game suspension.
Yeah.
And, he'll be totally healthy because he didn't put any stress on that leg in the preseason.
Yeah. And,
you got another month to get healthy. So when he comes back and you can have this two-headed horse in the backfield.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody knows how defense, minded Pittsburgh has been throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Yeah.
This has been one of the strongest defensive organizations in the NFL.
Well,
I really like those two teams, Charlton.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying everybody else because you got a quarterback that makes $140 million. You got a quarterback over here that makes $126 million. Another one over here that makes $118 and $122.
Well, wait a minute, Big Z.
Well,
listen, I think when you look at the fact that you and I were also looking at trying to make our millions with I think we'll do it with the Mega Millions and the Powerball, and we'll take it as it comes, Big C. But I also want to say that we are out of time, as we always are, out here at this loud practice, and we have a lot of good things happening on remote in Northern California. But every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide, you can follow Charlton and Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network. We'll come to you live from practices around Northern California as everybody's getting ready for college football and also NFL football. And I want to tell you, as we always do, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.